platform also serves as a channel for us to provide help to those struggling with substance abuse, especially those. I'd also like to let you know that this is equally a platform where we update you about some of the major activities of the agency, especially when we're doing to curb the scourge of substance abuse and illicit drug trafficking, as well as getting your feedback so that we can continue to do what we know how to do best, serve you, our society, and indeed humanity better. It also is recorded and is streamed live on our other social media handles, especially at NDLA01 on Facebook and at NDLA TV on YouTube. You can always go back at the end of this conversation today and take a listen to the recording because it will be live on our social media handles. That's the recorded version of this conversation. As such, you can share the link with others. Even right now, you can also share the link of this platform with your friends, family members, especially the young ones around you, so that they can be a part of the conversation, so that they can listen in, so that they can benefit and learn. It's important for us to let you know that we already have our guest speaker today. She is right on the space, and in a matter of a few minutes, we would be introducing her formally to make her presentation. But before then, it's important to remind you of some of the activities of the agency this past week, which normally comes in our news highlights segment. And I will be taken this afternoon by our regulars, Netta and Peace. Ladies, let's have the updates for this week. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Good day to everyone, and thank you for joining us on this week's X-Space. My name is Netta Dozier. I'm here at the MDLEA news highlights for the week. First, the headlines. MDLEA busts clandestine Coles lab in Lagos. Intercepts loud consignments in bathtubs. Arrests music artist. Recovers tons of opioids. Skunk in Kaduna, Edo, Kwara, Ogun, Taraba, Ondo, Bauchi raids. Operatives of the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency, NDLEA, have uncovered a clandestine laboratory where Colorado, a synthetic strain of cannabis, is being produced in a residential building located at Ajao Estates, Isolo, Lagos, with large quantities of freshly cooked colos and various precursor chemicals for drug production recovered, and the 30-year-old lab owner, Stephen Kelechi Imo, arrested. The discovery followed months of intelligence gathering on possible colos laboratories in Lagos after NDLEA officers intercepted consignments of freshly produced colos in March and May 2025 in the state, a development that suggested that the dangerous psychoactive substance, which was hitherto imported into the country, was now locally produced. The efforts paid off on Thursday, 30th October 2025, when NDLEA officers raided the residential apartment in Ajao Estates, Isolo, Lagos, which Kelechi converted to a laboratory for cooking colos, a strain of cannabis produced with the psychoactive plants and various chemicals. Recovered from the apartment include freshly cooked colos weighing 16.2 kilograms, ADB-CHMNACA cannabinol 1.7 kilograms, potassium carbonate 4.5 kilograms, and dibromobutane 91 liters. In another operation in Lagos, NDLEA operatives on Saturday, 1st November, raided the enclave of a 28-year-old drug dealer, Afiz Salisu, alias Malu, in Mushin, where 16 compressed blocks of Ghana loud, a strain of cannabis, as well as designer sachets and bottles of Colorado, weighing 16.4 kilograms, were recovered from him. A music artist, God's Power George, whose stage name is Steady Boy, was on Thursday, 30th October, arrested by NDLEA operatives while attempting to take delivery of a large consignment of loud, a strain of cannabis concealed inside 3 cartons of Baythub imported along with other items such as clothes and gadgets from New York, United States. This followed the seizure of the shipments, which allowed the import shed of the Murtala Mohammed International Airport (MMIA) Ikeja, Lagos, from US aboard a DHL flight on Tuesday, 28 October. The 20-year-old music artist was nabbed at Bougain Villa, Prime Water Garden 2, Freedom Road, Lekki, Lagos, when he showed up as a consignee to take delivery of the 140 bags of loud with a gross weight of 77.20 kilograms on behalf of a syndicate, which includes his manager, Zion Osazi Omige, aka Z-Money, who is currently at large. In Kaduna State, MDLEA operatives on patrol along Abuja-Jos Highway on Sunday, 26 October, intercepted a consignment of 84,110 capsules of tramadol coming from Onitsha, Anambra State, and heading to Bauchi. A follow-up operation in Bauchi led to the arrest of the recipients, Musa Abdul Karim. 2 days later, Tuesday, 28 October, operatives at the toll gate along Abuja-Kaduna Highway arrested Hamza Musa, conveying 32,946 bottles of Acoskura, a new psychoactive substance from Lagos, while Seidu Nafiu was nabbed with 131.5 kilograms skunk at Kanfani, Zangonaya, Igabi local government area, Kaduna. 3 suspects, Sharon Olaniyi, Ruwaf Asogba, and Ayinla Adeniyi, were on Saturday, 1st November, arrested at Abeokuta, Ogun State, after a team of MDLEA officers tracked their movement from Benin Republic and eventually intercepted their bus along Abiola Way, Abeokuta, with a total of 1,779 kilograms skunk recovered from them. While Jamilu Mustafa, aka Last Card, was arrested with 596.4 kilograms skunk at Masaru Town, Ningi local government area, Bauchi State, on Wednesday, 29 October. No fewer than 532,600 pills of tramadol and XO5 were recovered from the tray of Halilu Amiru, Rabiu Mekudi, and Ibrahim Mati in a truck marked KTG 791ZZ at Ilorin, Kwara State, same day. In Edo State, MDLEA officers on patrol along Ohoko Isi community in Uhumwode local government area on Wednesday, 29 October, intercepted 2 Toyota Sienna buses marked EPE 545EV and ABC 142CD, conveying a total of 1,455 kilograms skunk following credible intelligence. In like manner, operatives in Ondo State on Tuesday, 28 October, recovered a total of 2,829 kilograms skunk linked to a 32-year-old female suspect, Mrs. Ige Olarewaju, from 2 locations at Ayede, Obese, while another suspect, Samuel Adebayo, was nabbed with 737 kilograms of same psychoactive substance at Adebola Junction, Akure. No less than 76.5 liters of scooches, a mixture of blackcurrant, skunk, and opioids, were seized from a suspect, Ige Oluwale, who was arrested by MDLEA officers at Ibereko, Badagry, Lagos, on Friday, 31st October, while a total of 30,370 kilos of tramadol and 177 grams of methamphetamine were recovered from the duo of Musbahu Abdullahi and Saliman Ahmed following their arrest at Wukari, Taraba State, by operatives on Thursday, 30th October, when they were conveying the drugs from Onitsha, Anambra State to Yola, Adamawa State. While command officers and men of the Murtala Mohammed International Airport (MMIA), Lagos, Kaduna, Edo, Taraba, Ondo, Seme, and Bauchi commands, as well as their compatriots across the country, for their resilience, professionalism, and balanced approach to the drug control efforts of the agency, Chairman, Chief Executive Officer of NDLEA, Brigadier General Mohammed Buba Marwa, retired, vowed that the agency will continue to target and dismantle every identified drug syndicate in any part of Nigeria while denying them of the benefits of the proceeds of their crime by ensuring that they forfeit all their traceable assets to the federal government. That's it on arrests and seizures. Next is the updates on some of the wider activities across the country for the week, brought to you by my colleague, Peace. Thank you, Netta. My name is Peace, the pastor, and here are some of the wider activities across the country for the week. The National Drug Law Enforcement Agency, NDLEA, is transforming Nigeria's approach to tackling substance abuse through its War Against Drug Abuse wide initiative. Families and individuals to address one of Nigeria's most pressing social issues. Moving beyond traditional enforcement methods, WADA focuses on prevention, rehabilitation, and active community participation, championing the belief that the fight against drug abuse is everyone's responsibility. By extending its outreach to schools, markets, motor parks, and places of worship, among others, the NDLEA is integrating awareness into everyday life. This inclusive human-centered strategy replaces fear with understanding, ignorance with education, and stigma with compassion, inspiring citizens to embrace healthy, drug-free lifestyles and support one another in building a safer, more empathetic Nigeria. In this regard, on Monday, October 27, 2025, the Kano State Strategic Command of NDLEA delivered a WADA sensitization lecture to students and staff of Royal Star Academy, in Gwalmai in Bebeji local government area. The session focused on the dangers of substance abuse and its negative effects on education, discipline, and moral values. Officers encouraged the students to remain focused on their studies and to uphold integrity as a guiding principle in achieving both academic excellence and personal growth. Similarly, the Lagos State Strategic Command sustained the agency's advocacy drive with a WADA sensitization lecture to students and staff of Amazing Flowers Secondary School, Maya Ikorodu. The interactive session enlightened participants on the health and social risks associated with drug abuse while promoting the ideals of self-control, discipline, and positive peer influence as key tools in building a drug-free generation. Building on the day's advocacy effort, the Oyo State Command conducted a WADA sensitization lecture for students and staff of Aroje Abba Community High School, Ogbomoso. The program highlighted the far-reaching consequences of substance abuse on physical and mental health and encouraged learners to make responsible choices that will positively shape their future. On Tuesday, October 28, 2025, the Sokoto State Command of NDLEA intensified its preventive education effort by delivering a WADA sensitization lecture to students and staff of Government Day Secondary School, Ilela. The session emphasized the importance of resisting peer pressure, maintaining focus on education, and adopting a disciplined lifestyle rooted in moral uprightness and responsibility. Meanwhile, the Idioko Special Area Command held a WADA enlightenment lecture for students and staff of Corporate International Comprehensive College, Osenulu, Idioko. Officers used the opportunity to educate participants on the harmful consequences of drug misuse and urged them to act as ambassadors of the WADA campaign with their schools and communities. On Thursday, October 30th, the Ogun State Command of NDLEA, in collaboration with the National Youth Service Corps Drug Free Club, organized a WADA enlightenment lecture for road users and traders at Okeiloro, Omida, and Pansheke in Abeokuta. The outreach emphasized the dangers of drug-impaired driving, the importance of healthy living, and the collective role of communities in promoting a safe, drug-free environment. Concluding the week's activities, the Jigawa State Command conducted a WADA sensitization lecture for students and staff of Government Day Secondary School, Darina, in Gwiwa local government area. The session educated participants on the social, health, and psychological consequences of substance abuse, encouraging them to cultivate discipline, self-control, and academic diligence as key virtues for personal success and national development. That's the update for this week. My name is Peace, and I hand you over to our host, Mr. Femi Babafemi.
All right, thank you very much, Jeff. Peace and Meta. Welcome back from the news highlights segment. Now, let's remind ourselves about some of our rules of engagement on this platform today. Please note that when we approve you to be on the speaker's corner, ensure that you remain muted until after the presentation by our guest speaker, and we'll start inviting individuals to unmute themselves and make their contributions one after the other. Would always appreciate your cooperation every week. Thank you very much. Okay, let's before we introduce our guest speaker, let's also remind you about the NDLA's call center. That's a platform where the agency provides teletherapy and psychosocial support services to those who are struggling with substance abuse, and they probably out of the fear of being judged or stigmatization, they cannot find their way to a physical facility, or perhaps those that may not know how to go about seeking for help. All you need to do is to dial a toll-free helpline, which is 0800 10203040. The toll-free helpline again is 0800 1020 3040. At the other end of the call, you have experts talking of counselors, clinical psychologists, psychotherapists, and psychiatric doctors who work 24/7 every day of the week. You can call them at any time, whether in the morning, in the afternoon, or in the night, even perhaps 1 a.m., 2 a.m., 3 a.m., 4 a.m. They are there every day, round the clock, to offer support, to offer services to all our compatriots that may be having issues with substance abuse. I also like to tell you about the call center. There, the services are language sensitive, meaning that if you cannot speak English or Pidgin English, our experts there can speak with you on any of the three major Nigerian languages of Hausa, Yoruba, and Igbo. This is to further deepen the reach of this service and make especially those that are in the rural areas or in the communities to be able to access the services provided by this platform. Again, we'd also like to tell those who may want to do drug integrity test or obtain visa clearance certificate from the agency. We now have a drug integrity and visa clearance certificate portal. All you need to do is to log on to the portal. That's drug and visa.ndla.gov.ng. Right there, it's an interactive, or it's a very easy to use platform. You then go on, register, and then you choose the date you want your test to be conducted, the location where you want your test to be conducted, and if perhaps it's visa clearance, you also choose the date where you want to conduct your biometrics, or where the location where you want to do that. All of this is to make these services friendly, business-like, and then easy for people to obtain or to get some of these services without all the past bottlenecks. Again, we'd like to appreciate everyone joining us on this platform today, as well as all our compatriots joining on Facebook, on our Facebook page, and our YouTube channel. Thank you very much. Now, let's introduce our guest speaker today. She is Dr. Chiamaka Rose Uwaro. Dr. Uwaro is a licensed and practicing clinical psychologist with broad expertise in mental health, trauma-focused care, and the prevention, treatment, and recovery of substance use disorders. She currently serves with the Federal Medical Center, Umuahia, Abia State, where she provides compassionate, evidence-based psychological care. Driven by her passion to improve mental health outcomes and support for individuals struggling with substance use disorders and addiction, she became the visionary founder of Prorosi Therapeutic Healthcare, a rehabilitation facility based in Aba, Abia State, dedicated to recovery and holistic well-being. Dr. Uwaro combines clinical excellence with academic depth as a lecturer and researcher, with publications in both national and international journals. Her work emphasizes prevention education, especially among young people, as a sustainable approach to reducing mental health and substance use challenges. She is the Assistant Secretary General of the International Society of Substance Use Professionals, that's ISOP Nigeria chapter, and serves as a consultant clinical psychologist with the Abia State Command of the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency, NDLA. Her lifelong commitment is to promote holistic healing, resilience, and wellness for individuals and communities alike. Please join me in welcoming Dr. Shiamaka Rose Uwaora as I invite her to unmute herself now while we listen to her. Spend the next 20-30 minutes to discuss our topic for today, that is beyond fun, recreational drugs and impact on mental health. Please go ahead with your presentation, Dr. Rose. It's a pleasure to have you.
Thank you, sir, for welcoming me to the platform. Good afternoon, good morning, and good evening, depending on where you are listening. Having been introduced, today we are going to discuss a wonderful topic beyond fun, recreational drugs and their impact on mental health. Wow, what a wonderful topic. Recreational drugs are often seen as a way to unwind, relax, socialize, or even escape reality. However, beneath the temporary high lies a complex web of risks and consequences for psychosocial health. They might promise fun, but the cost to mental health can be lasting. Hence, understanding the risks empower us to make healthier choices, especially among the young ones. So we are going to move beyond the illusion of the fun that is being attached with this drug, with these recreational drugs, to prioritizing genuine well-being. We'll also explore how recreational drugs can impact on the brain, emotions, and the long-term psychological well-being. But before we go further, it will be interesting for us to understand what exactly are these recreational drugs. Well, recreational drugs are substances used for pleasure or enjoyment rather than for medical or therapeutic processes or purposes. The user of these recreational drugs are well integrated and can come from any socioeconomic background. They can be young. These recreational drugs feature more in weekend parties, relaxation bars, hotels, or even bonds. There's both in the legal and illegal drugs. For what purposes? Some of them say we want to use it to reduce stress, to escape from our daily routine, and to enhance our dancing ability. For instance, if someone goes to party, is feeling shy, or has this anxiety, social anxiety, and feels, okay, I want to increase my sociability and dance without thinking of what other person is thinking about me. And so I get to have a drag, I get to have a pump of it, and then it gives me that boldness, sudden boldness that I can do whatever thing I want to do without caring about what another person is thinking about me. It can also be used to alter mood, perception, or consciousness. People use it to catch fun, to also deal with their frustration, or to show that they have big energy or that they are big boys or girls, as the case may be. Most especially the young ones, the peer pressure, they might attend a party and in that party, they have shisha, they have money, I once had a inside of me. And suddenly, I was happy. I felt good. I felt relaxed. And that was how I started. I feel it's good for me. So some of these legal drugs could be alcohol, nicotine, caffeine, cannabis. In some region anyway, where it is being legalized. We also have the illegal ones like cocaine, ecstasy, heroin, and even the methamphetamine. In my dialect, it's called the almighty heroin. So people use all forms of these drugs in order to feel whatever they think they want to feel. Hence, recreational drug use is a significant problem in both developing and developed countries. It impacts significantly on people's physical, mental, and social well-being. So, it is something we really want to talk about. It has also led to so many death records among the users. Then, are the deceptive power of these recreational drugs. Many people turn to these recreational drugs for various reasons. Yes, a lot of clients and patients, when you ask them, they give you all forms of reasons why they use. Like the adage that says, there is no smoke without a fire. All the persons, all the youths, and young ones, or even older ones who are using, they all have their reasons for using. Some of them will tell you, I started using because of social pressure, in order to fit in with my friends or my peers. If I don't use, they look at me as a chicken-hearted guy. And I want to show them that no, I am not. And so I'll have to join them. Other ones will say, oh, I was using or I'm using in order to relieve stress. To cope, some students will say, okay, I want to use it to cope with my academic challenges. Some workers will say, I want to use it to cope with the pressures of work. And other ones will say, oh, the personal pressures, maybe frustration, failure, economic difficulties. I use it to relax. The economic difficulties is more common among even the older ones, where you see them each evening at the bar, relaxing with their bottles of alcohol, and then maybe a stick of cigarettes and cannabis, whatever they want to go with, and you see them catching fun or catching cruise, as the language goes. When they are there, they feel that they are catching fun, and that is why this topic says beyond the fun. Most of them too tell you that I am using in order to enhance my mood, seeking a temporary boost in mood or their energy. Most patients or clients will tell you, okay, I was using for me to get energy. If I don't use, I won't be able to work. I won't be able to function. I won't be able to do things that I'm supposed to do. So this mood helps me to do all of that. I don't have appetite if I don't use. When I puff, I get appetite to eat. I don't feel happy if I don't puff. When I puff, I have the appetite, I have the desire, or I feel happy. So all of these are major reasons why people get into this recreational drug. And then, how does recreational drug affect the brain? Does it have any impact? Why is it that someone who is sad will take and will suddenly feel that happiness immediately or almost immediately? Why is it that someone who claimed that I was angry and I smoked and calmed down? Why is it that someone will say that I hardly sleep and then when I have my puff, it helps me to sleep? What then is happening to the brain at that particular time? Well, drugs interact with the brain's reward system, releasing increased dopamine and serotonin, which will bring about that euphoric feelings, increased confidence that they have, maybe to do their partying, to talk to someone who they feel in their ordinary self they couldn't be able to talk to the person, or that sociability. Dopamine and serotonin are both neurotransmitters. So, taking or abusing substance that interferes with these can lead to severe adverse health effects, including the almighty addiction, which most of them who are using have started suffering from addiction. Well, depending on the type of drug the person uses or genetic makeup, drugs can take hold of a person abruptly or even gradually without a warning, leaving the individual powerless. To stop the addiction becomes almost impossible or difficult. Drug addiction begins with the process that is known as incentive sensitization. And what is more, once the incentive sensitization comes in, the person feels happy the first time, it makes me do this and that. Sadly, it ends when the body is dependent on the drug to regulate brain chemistry. Hence, with continued use of drugs, level of serotonin and dopamine are altered significantly beyond normal levels. What are we saying here? We know that the dopamine and the serotonin are the neurotransmitters. And what is their work? They are all rewarding neurons. The dopamine helps us to feel emotions, to be happy when we are supposed to be happy, to be sad too when we are supposed to be sad. Then what happens when an individual takes substance? All the substances act on this dopamine. And what it does is that it blocks or obstructs the natural dopamine, the natural flow of the dopamine, and replaces it with what I could call artificial dopamine. By kind of exciting the dopamine to increase its flow. And that is why the individual will have that sudden rush of happiness, sudden rush of whatever feelings the person feels, oh, this substance is giving me. Over time, the body, the brain, no longer function on its own. The dopamine receptor will no longer be active. What happens? This individual will now solely depend on the substance in order to feel anything. While this may seem like a fun at first, the short-term mental highs can quickly lead to dangerous lows because the brain now has adjusted to these substances. And this individual can no longer function, can no longer do things that he or she used to do. The individual will now rely on the substance. What a sad end. What are the dark side of these recreational drugs that we think on at first? Let's explore the mental health impact. While the immediate effect might seem appealing to the individual, these recreational drugs can have serious and long-lasting impact on individuals' mental health, which includes bringing up anxiety and paranoia, increased heart rates, racing thoughts, and feelings of unease or that fear. It can also bring about depression, which is persistent feeling of sadness, hopelessness, and loss of interest in activities previously enjoyed. This consciousness It's look okay, the effect wears off, I come back to my square one. Then I sleep again. I feel okay, within 30, 40, 1 hour, the effect goes off. And over years, the individual will not increase the dosage. It has gone out of the recreational form. It has become a habit. It has become a problem. And this individual will begin to feel like, oh, it is not a problem. Rather than now dealing with that depression, it is causing another depression on that individual. The individual is no longer happy, feels sad. Sometimes the person may begin to feel that I am now imprisoned. How do I break free? And the more the individual thinks about it, the more sad the individual becomes. And the desire to use in order to escape from these thoughts increases. Some other ones, the anxiety, they'll just become afraid, suspiciousness will set in. You see some of these patients, oh, nothing is there, and they feel something is there. They feel afraid for no reason, and they needed to just smoke and deal with that. And when the effect wears off, they come back to where they are. Some other ones, it could lead to psychosis, that is disconnection from reality, where the individual now begins to hear voices or to not hear in full consciousness, and begins to delusion, which is believing things others do not believe. That is the mental aspect of it. It can also lead to cognitive impairment. Memory loss, we've mentioned history of memory loss as a result of substance use, attention deficit, and then poor decision making. Yes, the poor decision making is always there. So the individual can make right judgment. Some of them, they feel this is the only thing I have to do to feel happy, and you see them doing that. The influence of the over drug use, despite the negative consequences. At this stage, the individual have realized that, oh, this smoke is not good for me. But then, I cannot stop. I cannot stop. On some occasion, it could also trigger underlying conditions. Let me mean by this. Drug use can trigger all the underlying mental health conditions such as bipolar disorder or even schizophrenia. Yes, this is important because all of these things we have a predisposed mental health condition. Genetically, it could develop a mental health condition. But the use of this substance will increase the risk of developing this mental health condition. But all individuals from the early their genetic history, they do not have this record of developing mental health condition. But the substance they are using, especially the hallucinogens, the stimulants, a whole lot of those substances could then trigger mental health condition. It becomes a problem to that individual. What about social or emotional impact? Does it really have social impact, or is it only the mental aspect of it? We should remember here that substance abuse or drug abuse does not only impact the mental and the cognition. It impacts both the social and environmental, even emotional. I will also say that drug addiction is a family disease. Why is that so? When an individual is using, the use affects not only him, but the entire family. No wonder, little wonder, individuals who are using are being brought to rehab, mostly by their family members. They may not have the insight of what is happening to them. Or even when they have the insight, they may not feel the need a strong motivation to say no to it. And you see them continuing. Now, the family members will be the ones to feel bad about what is happening, to feel the pain of what is happening, and then begin to look for help on the person's behavior or on the person's part. So it has a lot of social implications. It brings about strange relationships. Yes, this is one of the things that substance abuse or use causes on the user. Once the family notices that this person is using substance, the relationship is being strained. Why is that so? The person will begin to exhibit abnormal behaviors that were not originally there. Sometimes the individual will no longer care about the family. Nothing will matter to this individual any longer rather than the smoke. Other family members are worried about you. They want you to stop. Yet, you are unable to stop. And you know what? Every user will promise the family, I am going to stop. The truth be told, it's not always easy to just say, I'm going to stop, and the individual stops. So, when they make that promise, and along the line, they break the promise, the family will feel bad about that. The family will feel that they are lying. And the family will have heartbreak. And then they begin to abandon this individual. They will begin to feel that this person is nothing to write home about. They begin to feel that there is no need wasting our energy, wasting our resources on this individual. If the person is married, the person can even forget about the wife. What matters to the person is now the smoke. The smoke becomes the person's wife or husband. Okay? When he doesn't smoke, he doesn't feel happy. This individual can go as far as selling belongings just to fulfill the cravings to smoke. Most of them can sell their laptops, they can sell all their properties anytime they have the cravings to smoke. They can even sell out family properties. You will agree with me that this will strain the family relationship. For students, it can even bring about poor academic performance. When they are addicted to it, the child was missing lectures, playing trances just to go and smoke. The child will no longer be interested in academics. I will begin to think of what else to do in order to get money. And for the undergraduates, you see them going into what they call internet frauding, pressing phone. When you ask them, often they'll tell you, and they press phone. It's not like the normal pressing phone that you and I know how to do. This one, why are they doing that? Just because they want to make money. And what will they use the money to do? Invariably, to smoke. And at the end of the day, they will go deeper and deeper. Someone may start with the recreational gateway drugs of cigarettes, nicotine, alcohol. Over time, all of this will no longer give this individual the high that he or she requires, and then will go for other higher drugs. And when this individual goes for the other higher drugs, the more money it will require. The person gets into this Yahoo business of a thing, the person is keep awake. Because they will tell you that our time zone and those of the people they want to scam, their time zone, we are not the same. We are not in the same time zone. And what is more, they want to smoke in order to be alert at night. To speak with this, the clients, the agent of the certain making, the agent of this thing that genuine. Sometimes they come with marriage, they claim a whole lot of things. They'll tell you that they usually do what they call cloning. They clone, usually use female clients to scam them with the whites. Male clients over there. Now, once an individual, a student, starts engaging in this, you agree with me that the academic performance will automatically drop. And they may not care at that particular time because what matters to them is that money that they are getting and the money that they are also using in their smoke. How about workers? If an individual starts smoking, leaving this fine recreational drugs to when the person is not addicted, this individual no longer perform his duties. Sometimes sleeping on duty. Sometimes you meet individuals who feel that, oh, I can do this work later. Procrastination will come in, and they will no longer do their job the way they should. It becomes a problem, and sometimes it may lead to laying them off their job, and they become jobless. And when they become jobless, it even increases the use. Remember, it started as a fun. But at this time, you agree with me that it's no longer fun. It has become a problem. Over time, socially, it will also lead to isolation. Most of them will begin to isolate self. This isolation could be just for them to smoke, where people will not see them, or it could be that they have developed paranoia, that they begin to suspect everybody and anything. Even when they are inside their room, they smoke, they feel that somebody is watching them, and they want to do something to escape. It can also lead to stigma. Of course, we know. When someone is using, everyone around the person will begin to stigmatize. This stigma is coming from lack of knowledge and insight. And you know they will always call them those names that will affect them. It can also lead to increased self-harm. Or sometimes, in the worst case scenario, it can even lead to suicide. I once had a patient, it's a life story of a patient I once had who used some of these, precisely Colorado. He has been using it for some time. One of the occasions, he heard a voice that was challenging him that is very funny anyway, but I have to share it here. He heard a voice that was telling him to chop up his scrutiny, that would make him to be like a big boy. They were discussing him, the third person discussion, they were talking about him, male, female, he said they were male and female voices. At some point, the female voice was stronger, urging him to chop up his scrutiny, and that would make him a big guy. And he actually did that. By the time he used knife to cut it off, and he was rushed to hospital, and then after initial recovery, he now told his story led to that. How sad. Just because of what started like a fun, now is beyond the fun. It has led him to being deformed. A lot of stories about youths who started recreational drugs as fun, but today they are dealing or battling or struggling with their mental health. And it's not only affecting them, sad to say, it is also affecting their family. Because substance use disorder is a family disorder. But then, how can someone or every family member know that this recreational drug, this form, is no longer fun? It has now become problematic. One of the ways is when there is increased use or dependency. When the party can just have a puff of Molly, can just have no longer function without smoking. Feels that he or she cannot do anything without his smoke. That is a warning sign that something is wrong. Also, neglecting responsibilities and relationships. Yes, when the individual, maybe a student, maybe a husband, maybe a working class, begins to neglect responsibilities, no longer pay attention to businesses, others will be at their business spot, he will be at the bar and wherever, or he will be in his house, locked himself up, smoking. It has become a problem. It's no longer the fun that it used to be. It has become a habit. This individual one as it were, but it has become a habit, something that they must do. And if they don't, they feel like something is missing. Relationship, family wise, if it's a young person to begin to affect the family, the young ones will begin with illness and a whole lot of maladjusted or maladaptive behavior that we also non season when the individual this person goes out to reach out for the smoke. Hence, recreational drugs. Let's see, like a harmless way to have fun, to catch cruise, as they always say, to get to cloud nine, as they always my anxiety, to deal with my depression, to deal with my frustration, to forget about the problems. It may start with that, like that harmless fun, but they can have serious and long-lasting impacts on and even social health. So, by understanding the risks and consequences, it will now enable user members to our life. Some of them will come into rehabilitation, they will tell you it has not affected me in any way. How you know, they will always tell you that, oh, I'm still mentally stable. I don't have any psychosis. I am not mad, in quotes, as they usually say. For me, it's still cool because it's still serving some purposes. But there are other socio-economic factors that it may have been affecting. We need to explore that area to check the person's academic performance, to check the person's business, to check the person's family relationship, and then see areas that it has started affecting the person. The individual may not have insight of this. It is now the work of the professional to help this individual to have insight to psychoeducation, to help this person to see that beyond the form, beyond that which you call form, there lies dangers, dangers that we cannot really deal with, dangers that are so heavy to bear. So we need to help them to protect their mind because it is the real high that lasts. It is now important for them to seek help. Seek professional help. Maybe if you're talking to family members, may not really help. Of course, yes, sometimes family members may stigmatize, family members may say a whole lot of things that will even make the individual to be more depressed. There is need to seek professional help. There are a lot of treatment options. We have therapy, we have support groups, and depending on the level, some medication can also help the individual to deal with that. And then the person goes into therapy, more motivation will be built, more skills to break free with the guilt. And at the end, this individual will learn positive coping mechanisms rather than seeing substance as the only means of coping with their substance use. Thank you. I want to stop. Thank you very much for listening.
Thank you very much, dear Dr. Shiamaka Waru. You have done excellently well. We appreciate the detailed presentation you had there. And now, quickly, let's move. Please stand by while we uh, do some other things quickly, and then we'll start. We'll open the platform for contributions, questions, and interrogation of your presentation. But first, let's appreciate all our compatriots joining us from across the world. Also, those who are joining us on our Facebook page at NDLA01, as well as our YouTube channels as at NDLA TV on YouTube. Thank you very much. Now, let's acknowledge some of those who are with us on X Space here. I have Dr. Amaka Umiego. Dr. Amaka, thank you. She's been with us for a while. We also have Aliu Mohammed. Thank you, Dr. Abdul Wahab Abdullah. Dr. Abdul Wahab Abdullah is of the Ahmadu Bello University Teaching Hospital, indeed a consultant psychiatrist there. Thank you very much, Dr. Abdullah. We also have Patricia Afolabi. Patricia Afolabi is a director at the NDLA. Father Ero Adedayo Femi Aina, ATK. Adejare Adeniran Kelechi, Prince Isaac, Wole Ganus, thank you, Ganus, Lisa Harris, Saddam Sani Yaro, Abubakar Sani, it's quite a while, John Ogunjimi. Glad to see you again. Thank you. Well, I appreciate Moyo Sore, then Right Honorable Adeleke Olaoluwa. Thank you, Duke of Worldwide, Blanco, Ejikeme, Bishop, Pascal Iwe, Shegun Abdul Maruf, Idris Jr., Hawarawa Ngala, Abdul Malik Yaraya. Good to see you, Abdul Malik. King Zanga, Igbede Moses, Brain. Let's take a pause now so that we can have some conversation. And in the course of that, we may also take another pause to acknowledge some more people. But for now, let's take a pause here and then have contributions from the platform. While we also have some questions waiting for our guest speaker right in DM. But first, I've seen those who are already on the speaker's corner. Let's have Aweyemi. Aweyemi, you have a question or contribution? Let's hear from you. Aweyemi Oluwasegun Abdulmaruf, you have a question or contribution? Okay, let's ask Igbede, right? Yes, Igbede, you have a question or contribution? All right, these people are just on the speaker's table there. Okay, let's take some of these questions. Let's start from some of our questions in our DM and then so the question. Any questions? If I skip your question, please note that it's possible Dr. Shiamaka had answered that in the course of her presentation, so I had to be skipping to just mention. Yes, Igbede. Good evening, sir. Please go ahead. You have a question or contribution?
No, yes, I have a contribution. I'm a core member serving at Abia State, Iselangwanon. You know, my CDS, she talks about drugs abuse. It talks about drugs abuse. We have been preaching against drugs abuse because we see that in this generation, the youth has made themselves so available to drugs, condemn their body to drugs. But I will also contribute that the federal government should provide equality teams that will be detecting all those people who normally carry drugs along with them, because the system and the country is being glued down every day by those drug addicts. Whenever a young man finishes taking hard drugs, all he has to be thinking either to steal or to destroy things in the environment. That the NDLEA, though they are really trying, I really appreciate them for that. I did follow them on Twitter here, seeing their good work, that the federal government should equip them more for them to carry out effective operation. That is all I have to say, sir. I just come in and I see the notification, I have to join. Thank you for the privilege, sir.
All right, thank you very much, Ibede Moses. Thanks for your contribution. We're glad you are a good ambassador, a good advocate there. Please keep it up. We'll continue to do this, and note that this is all about all of us. It's a collective thing. We have to continue to join hands with all stakeholders to ensure that we'll get over this, and by the grace of God, with the support of citizens like you, we'll definitely get over this sometime very soon, by the grace of God. Thank you once again, Ibede, for your contribution. Dr. Shiamaka, you have something to say to him or to what he's just said?
I'm happy to hear that he's even in Abia State, a core member. Honestly, I would really love to meet with him. Maybe after my distance to beat me, being a it's interesting to see that you are working hard to see. Like you said, it's a collective effort. It's not one man business. I only have to work hard in order to help, to reach youth out there, to reach them with the right information. And that is why I really want to meet you, to know if you are also trained on right information. So sometimes without knowing the right information, they may end up people substances that they don't even want to use. Thank you.
If it's possible, we can meet, man. Even though I hope and I was even wish if I can be a member of NDLA for we to fight it together. Though it has not come true. That is it, man. Thank you very much, man.
All right, just DM Dr. Shiamaka. Just go to to her DM after this conversation, and then she will reply you. She can always create a platform for you to meet with her. Thank you there, Ibede Moses.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, I have Gideon. Gideon, you have a question or contribution?
I have a contribution.
Please go ahead, please.
Yes, thank you, everyone, all listeners, speakers, NDLE. Thank you. I want to appreciate you for doing the good job, spreading the gospel about drugs and its impacts on Nigerians. Yes, well, my name is Gideon. I studied criminal justice, and also I work with the criminal justice department in the United States. Yes, recreational drugs and impacts on mental health. Well, I will say this: if there is a way Nigerians can stop recreational drugs, right? That would be the best option, because there is consequences of these recreational drugs, right? Like Dr. Tamaka said about psychosis, right? Most people that takes this recreational, drugs or substances, it worsens their mental health, right? For example, mood and behavior changes, right? The people that uses recreational, whatever they call it, marijuana, opioid, whatever they call it, their behaviors and moods always changes to negative thoughts, right? And whenever they take all these recreational drugs, they withdraw from social activities, right? Sometimes they think of bad things. They think of how they will stay away from family and friends, right? During my field work, I understand that the people that goes into um recreational, substances, they continue to get worse and worse, right? So the best thing we can do is to ensure that we stop people from having access to recreational drugs because it changes their brains, right? So because our brain is built to make us understand things, right? So adding another thing to your brain will make it to act negative. So that's why I'm saying we should try as possible as we can to ensure that our youths don't go into recreational drugs. Although some say we can use it to, cope up with things. No, the answer is no. Because I have the experience and I have worked with someone that had that experience of recreational drugs, and I interviewed people and they told me that if they had known, they should have gone into drugs. One, it costs a lot of money. They spend money getting the recreational drugs. Maybe in Nigeria it's not expensive, but in other countries, Western countries, right? Before you get recreational drugs, before you get prescription for that, you have to spend a lot of money, right? So this is why the recreational drugs is not good, and it worsens mental health, both men and women. It damages brain, and once the brain is damaged, it's damaged, and nothing can bring your brain back. Not even recreational drugs can help you. The only thing that can help is to stop and don't ever try that recreational drugs. For example, marijuana, right? I had people talking about, okay, doctor can prescribe, marijuana. I mean, no. The answer is no. So the thing we can do is to spread that gospel, educate our youths, and tell them not to taste it, not to have access to it. That's the only way out because many people are suffering, not only in Nigeria, in all parts of the world. Like where I live now, it's legal. They make it legal for everybody to have access to recreational marijuana, opioid, all kind of things that our brain does not need. Our brain does not need any other thing. So my Nigerian people, let's start now to stop it before it escalates, before it gets worse, because it will affect me, it will affect you. For example, if we have somebody who has mental, something, and the person gets in power, what do you think that will happen? Our country will be in a mess. So that's why we are saying, please, everybody, tell your brother, tell your sister, don't ever try to get into anything, and don't ever hope that you get recreational or drugs because it affects the brain. This is the reality. But some people will not tell you the truth. They will tell you, say, hey, you can get recreational marijuana, you can get recreational things to help yourself. No, it never help it can never help, and it can never solve any problem. Today, from experience, even yesterday, I talked to one of my clients, and he was crying. He was really, really crying, and asked and said he didn't know why he got into this type of situation. So many people who experiences, they are trying to get away, they are trying to withdraw from all kind of prescription because it damages brain. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much, dear Gideon. Thank you for being a good ambassador out there. We trust you. You always make some awesome contributions on this platform anytime you come around. Thank you once again, Gideon. Okay, Dr. Shamaka, you have something to say to Gideon?
I think he's doing a good job out there. But then, he is in a developed country where all of legalized. I don't know how possible it is here in Nigeria internal drugs. I don't know how possible it's going to be, but then we work on sensitizing people. That something is legal, that something is everywhere, does not mean that I should use it. Does not mean that another person should use it. So if we can be able to increase our sensitization, if we can be able to reach these young ones, the youths, before drugs do, because that's always my slogan, reach them before drugs do. And that is why I also do sensitization in secondary school. If you are able to reach these ones, they can now make an informed decision not to even use, even when it is around them. I tell you, it's not really easy. It's not going to be an easy fact to stop these recreational drugs from getting to people. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much, dear. We continue to broaden the scope of the conversation to schools, motor parks, marketplaces, communities, worship centers, and that's in partnership with all our stakeholders. And we do believe by God's grace, just like Dr. Shabaka said, we'll get this information to our young people early enough before drugs get to them, so that by the time they are being confronted, they have they have the information they need to make the right decision for their life. That's that. Okay, let's take the next contribution or question from Pazi Papas. Pazi Papas, please unmute yourself and let's hear your question or contribution. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is actually Gabe Ofen. I just joined this space not too long, and I'm a 300 level student of Criminology and Security Studies, National Open University, and I've done some courses relating to drug abuse and illicit drugs and recreational influences on people. So also, this is my second degree, and I must say this is not the first time I'm going to school. And in my first degree, I was unfortunate to be into this drug thing. So I thank God for it was not really easy coming out of it. And since then, I've been studying and understanding how drugs influences people. You know, even around my environment in slums, even those of my mates that are still not out of it, I've still been secretly on studying them. And I want to contribute. I'd like to say that in tackling this menace, I feel that the sensitization should not be, we should look beyond secondary schools because even from the nursery school, from the primary school, and the churches too, I think we should make it more or less a course, a compulsory subject, such that the teachers or the church leaders have find a way to let the children know in the church programs, you know, because charity begins at home. There is a whole lot of sensitization that should be done in the grassroots, in our social institutions, which includes churches, homes, even in the villages, rural areas. You know, I don't know how possible, but I feel that if we can extend or look beyond the secondary school sensitization, we can be able to reach a greater number of people because indeed, recreational drugs has really caused and is still causing a whole lot of menace in society. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you there. Gabriel, I guess you said his real name. All right, Dr. Shamaka, you want to speak to that?
Okay, yeah, what he said is very much in line. All of us, like they say, all hands must be on deck. All of us should join hands, especially in the secondary school, both churches, community-based, we have community-based sensitization, we have family, rally, and all of that. But then, the parents, they have a lot of work to do. I always urge parents to be very intentional. It's not about giving birth to children, but be part of their life. Be intentional in raising up these children. If you're very intentional in raising them up, you'll be able to educate them. Before they go out there to learn the wrong one, they must have learned the good one. And that good one will help them, will serve as a buffer for them when they are confronted with those substances out there. They will be able to know what to do. It's not easy. We need a whole lot of persons in this fight. So you can also make yourself available to join in this fight.
All right, thank you very much, Dr. Shamaka. That's a challenge to you there, Gabriel. I believe since you are someone with a lived experience, you should be a good advocate, a good ambassador out there, also sharing your experience with others and telling them about the consequences so that they can make the right decision, so that they can make the right choices. Once again, we appreciate your contribution, Gabriel. Thank you, Dr. Shamaka. Let's quickly read some of the questions in our DM. We have this one from Comfort. Thank you very much, Dr. Rose, for all that you have explained. And in your presentation and your responses so far, I'd like to ask if some individuals some individuals genetically more vulnerable to addiction or mental health breakdowns from drug use than others. All right, thank you, Comfort. Okay, Dr. Shamaka, did you get that?
Yes, I did. Yes, though there is no blood, there is no genetic environment that is responsible for smoking. Um, Most of these behavioral disorder are what we call learning by observation and imitation. A lot of persons started using because they observe another person doing so and they started. But then, I earlier said it, there are some individuals who may be predisposed to mental health condition like bipolar, we know most often is genetically endowed, we have schizophrenia, and some of other mental health conditions. An individual may be predisposed, meaning that maybe the father, the mother, or the grandparents may have suffered from mental health condition. And when this person has it with smoking, start smoking, the individual may develop this mental health condition earlier than it should have been. So these are one of the reasons why some persons may develop mental health condition. On the other hand, there are also individuals who are not predisposed, have an issue. There is no history of schizophrenia or bipolar in their family. Well, depending on the type of substance they are using, then they can develop a mental health condition. The best thing is not to experiment, not to try. Thank you.
All right, the best thing is not to experiment, not to try, because recovery from dependence is not a walk in the park. It's a challenging one. All right, that's that from Dr. Shamaka. Let's take this one from Omo. Omo, again, thanking Dr. Shamaka for her presentation. Then, what her question is from your experience, especially right at your clinic, what would you call the biggest challenges in rehabilitating people with comorbidity conditions such as addiction and mental health issues? And okay, the drug is from fun to harmful. Okay, how do you also think that society can shift the perception of drug use from fun to harmful? Okay, those are the two questions from Rumu there, Dr. Shamaka.
I think the first one he just kind of answered it to is usually very challenging. That's the most challenging part of it. When you have someone who has a drug history with comorbidity of mental health condition, maybe there was the person developed mental health condition as a result of use, or had a predisposed mental health condition, or was even a mental health patient before he or she started using. It's always very challenging to deal with such. You are battling with the behavioral addiction, you are also battling with the psychosis. Those are the major challenging factors we always face. Coming to the next one, you said, can I get the second question again? I think it's
okay. The second question, how do you think society can shift the perception of drug use from fun to harmful?
Okay, interesting. That is what we are doing now. Sensitization, the right sensitization. To an average young person out there trying to use or using, always see substance as fun. Because when you ask them, in my experience, in my practice, they'll tell you all the things that it helps them achieve and it helps them to. So for them, it's fun. But this right sensitization, reaching them, reaching the right persons, reaching the right individuals, is the only way we can shift. And then all of us, I charge all of us not to stigmatize, not to look down on individuals that are using. They are only victims. They did not commit any crime. And so when we see it from that perspective, we will be able to be willing to help them, to see that what they call fun is not really fun. Rather, it is harmful. Thank you.
Okay, thank you then, Dr. Shamaka. Let's take this one from Oshena. Oshena says, I'd like our guest speaker to explain a statement she made during her presentation that substance use disorder is a family disorder. I just want to get a clarity on this. Thank you. All right, thank you, Oshena. Okay, please go ahead, Dr. Shamaka.
Yes, I said that it is a family disorder in the sense that substance use does not affect only the user, but affect the whole family. And when I was presenting, I also mentioned that most of the drug users do not come. In fact, if you have 100 clients or patients who are coming for rehabilitation, only one or two may be on self-referral. Others are being brought by their family members. Mostly with the aid of officers to help them come in, meaning that the individual lacks insight into the harm that the substance is causing him or her. And now the family will be the one to take up the responsibility. And sometimes when you ask them, why are you here? They say, I don't know. My family brought me here. They should be the one to tell you why I'm here. So it is now the family business. What about the stigma that is associated with the substance? Like the local adage that says, a mad person does not feel ashamed, but the families feel ashamed. Yes, it's also applicable to substance use. Individuals who are using may not feel anything. For them, it's giving them that highs, they're catching their cruise, they're having their euphoric feelings. It's the family members that are suffering from it. And sometimes they can end up selling everything, destroying everything, and even harming their own self. So that is why I say that it is a family disease.
All right, thank you very much, then, Dr. Shamaka. Okay, this one is coming from David. David is asking one of the speakers who spoke from US, I believe is Gideon, said that even though some of these recreational drugs are available for use where he is, but that people should not use it. How does he explain the fact that one of such drugs, cannabis, has therapeutic effect? Before they legalized it there, the government would have known that that's therapeutic effect. So I need him, if he's still available on the space, to tell us why he is speaking against this if the government of the US has allowed it. Okay, let's check. I believe Gideon is here on the space. Okay, Gideon, are you still there for us? Okay, if Gideon is not there, well, I believe let's keep that till Gideon is available there, but then let's take this one, the ones Dr. Shamaka would speak to. No, this person is asking what are the most common recruit. I don't actually encourage us mentioning some of these things so that some people's curiosity will not be raised. I don't know, affect my personal and family but keep my punishment to the habit. Quickly take this one from okay. I've listened to quite a lot of the contributions on this space today, but I also believe that the society needs to shift from punishment to rehabilitation in addressing drug-related mental health issues. I believe this is something that's emphasized by the guest speaker. If not, I'd like to hear her opinion of this because I joined in late. All right, okay, I'll ask Dr. Shamaka to speak to that. Okay, let's take this other one from LZ. LZ, how do recreational drugs and find that? Yeah, indeed. Okay, I would like our guest speaker to okay to share her opinion and professional insight into the effect of recreational drugs, especially opioids, on memory of our young people, especially students. Because I once had a friend who said after abusing, what is this? Okay, after abusing cough syrup for a while, began to forget most of the things he reads or even taught in the class. All right, thank you very much. Dr. Shamaka, I believe you got the two. Just quickly speak to that time. Okay.
Yeah, the first one is I earlier handled it in my, though he said he joined late. We don't punish the users. We want to rehabilitate them. I'm sure NDLEA, you know now, you do that. You punish the dealers, but the users are victims and we want to rehabilitate them. And that is why we have rehabilitation centers scattered all over the country to help these innocent users who are hooked unknowingly to see how they can break free from the use. Now, the second one, we talked about that the substance affects the memory. It impairs our cognition, our ability to think, reason. Yes. We earlier talked about the dopamine receptor, the serotonin. All these are the brain chemistry that helps us to remember, to think, to feel emotions. And now, constant use of this substance will begin to impair these all important neurotransmitters in the brain. And what is more, this individual will begin to forget things, will begin to suffer from loss of memory or attention deficits, as I mentioned earlier, or even poor decision making. So substances do affect the brain, the mental health, the cognition, most especially even among the growing brain, the young ones who started abusing early in life, when their brain is not fully developed, can have more adverse effect. That is not excluding the adults, because all of us, it affects our memory.
All right, thank you very much then, Dr. Sherman. Let's ask this one from Oliver. Oliver is asking, please, I'd like to ask Dr. Rose if the stigma surrounding recreational drug use is not more damaging to mental health than the substances themselves. All right, thank you, Oliver. Okay, Dr. Shamaka, I'm sure you got that.
Yeah, I got that. And that is what we are looking at. The stigma sometimes can be more challenging, but then that is the need why we should all sensitize people for them to know that a user is only a victim who needs help, who is crying for help. You need to find out, why is this person using? You don't just stigmatize the user, you need to find out. And that is where clinical psychologists come in. We need to find out the underlying, the precipitating factors and the predisposing factors regarding this substance use, and then help this individual to resolve this conflict. And once these conflicts are resolved, the need to use will begin to reduce, and the person learns healthy coping mechanisms to deal with this substance abuse. But then we all need to stop the stigma. It starts from you, it starts from your neighbor, it starts from every one of us. You may talk about the stigma, and then sometimes you still find yourself stigmatizing them, calling them names. Please, all of us, we all have a role to play. We need to help them, not to stigmatize them.
All right, thank you very much. We have this one from this, another interesting one from Sam. Sam is, I would like to ask our guest speaker to share an insight on this particular argument within my friend circle. That is, should recreational drug use be legalized for adults, considering its potential impact on mental health? I don't know, Dr. Shamaka, do you understand that?
Why it should be legalized? Of course, these people are fighting against it, wanting it to be legalized. They will know the implication. Like I always say, that something is legal. Does it make it safe? Alcohol is legal in Nigeria. Does it really make it safe? You know yourself, I know myself. I don't want to use because it's legalized and it's not healthy for me. So whether it is legalized or it is not legalized, all of us should be trained. We should train our perceptive power to distinguish between right and wrong. To know ourselves, to know what is good for me and what is not good for me, irrespective of the fact whether it is legalized or not.
All right, thank you very much again, Dr. Shiamaka, for your insights. We're almost approaching the end of the conversation, but we're having the more you answer them, the more questions are pouring in. Let's take this one from Prince. Prince is asking, from your experience, Dr. Rose, should mental health treatment prioritize addressing substance use disorders or should they be treated separately? Thank you. All right, thank you, Prince. Dr. Rose, I thought about that.
They should be handled both side by side, depending. When we talk about mental health condition is very broad. We should know that. It's very, very broad. Substance abuse is part of it. And we also have other mental health conditions that could result as in the process of using substance. So while handling mental health condition, substance use disorder should also be part of it, depending on what the problem is.
All right, thank you, Dad. Would like to take this one from Adewale. Adewale is this is a very complex and complicated matter, but I'd like to share here so that we can have some more insight from the guest speaker, who I believe is a professional and knowledgeable, given all that she's been saying since. There are situations where individuals on specific opioids for the treatment of their medical conditions, yet these same drugs constitute high risk to their mental health. How do you think this can be handled without jeopardizing the medical condition being treated and at the same time managing the mental health of the individual? All right, thank you, Dr. Chiamaka. That's the big one for you there.
Yes, I think it's really a big one, but the fact remains that every medical condition has some medication for it. The doctor should know the best treatment for every medical condition. And if by any chance the particular medication that is being used for a particular ailment, the individual has started abusing it. Let me take, for instance, though we don't like calling drugs here, but like pentazocine, I believe we are all professionals. Some medications like that, pentazocine, people can use it. Medical doctors do use it. But at the same time, you can still see individuals abusing that. So it is the work of the doctor to checkmate so that this individual does not abuse it. And that is why early enough, the doctor, the medical doctor should also consult a clinical psychologist who would also work on the mind of this individual so that this person may not indirectly be dependent on the drugs. There are cases where an individual may not be having a particular medical condition, but is now or has that medical condition with comorbid substance dependence, where the medication that was using for the treatment, this individual has started depending on that. And so, with the help of the medical doctor and the clinical psychologist, they will have to walk this person through. The doctor can look for any alternative that is more highly addictive, that will still do the same thing. And then the psychologist will work on the mind of this person not to depend on this substance.
All right, thank you, Jack. I have Victoria here asking, I have listened in and benefited a lot, but I must say that I have a friend who is suffering from this condition, and we're torn between understanding the services provided by a counselor, and then you also have psychologists. Are they the same thing, or they provide different services? Please, I'd like to get a clarification from our guest speaker. All right, Dr. Shamaka then. Victoria wants to know the difference between a counselor and the clinical psychologist.
They do not provide, let me just be direct here, they do not provide the same services. A counselor can handle mild emotional problem. Well, it depends on the person, the counselor's scope of professionalism or studies. While a clinical psychologist handle most of those mental, emotional, and psychological problems that are deep. Even a clinical psychologist may not still be very much knowledgeable about drug treatment. Being a drug professional has its own training, professional training, that will qualify you to become a certified therapist or a certified clinical psychologist who has found his or her niche in substance. It's not like going to a counselor. A pastor can say, I'm a counselor, can counsel you just with the Bible. Yeah, it works some other time, but there are some complicated issues that need professionalism. And that is where a clinical psychologist who is very much knowledgeable about substance will now help this individual, or even a counselor who may have taken courses on drug addiction, professional, and all of those. We have a lot of them that can now qualify this person to be a drug counselor, not just a general counselor.
All right, I'm seeing a follow-up question from Victoria now. Okay, Victoria says thank you. But at what point does a psychiatric doctor come in the chain of this treatment? Okay.
A psychiatric doctor prescribes medication, while a clinical psychologist work on the behavior and the mind of this individual.
I believe we are clear there. Victoria, thank you, Victoria. Okay, at this point, we'd like to once again appreciate Dr. Shiamaka Rose Unwaru, founder Pro Rosi Therapeutic Health Care, located in Aba, Abia State. Thank you very much. She's been speaking with us. She's been with us for almost about 2 hours now, sharing her insights, her experience, her knowledge, deep insights on our topic for today, that is beyond fun, recreational drugs and impact on mental health. And we'd like to appreciate everyone that has been contributing one way or the other, especially Gabriel, Ibede, Gideon, who joined us from the US, and everyone. At this point, we'd like to once again appreciate Dr. Shiamaka, and let's have your final take now, your closing remarks, Dr. Shiamaka, before we go on the space today. Dr. Shiamaka, please go ahead.
Thank you very, very much for this awesome opportunity. And I also appreciate all the listeners. It shows that the questions, the comments, all show that they all paid keen attention to the discourse. It really encouraged me to do more. One of my parting shot here is that remember that drugs are called recreational. Does not make it safe. Yes, recreational drugs may seem like a harmless way to catch fun, to catch cruise, but note that the best high you can give yourself is protecting your mind. Do not try, do not test, do not experiment, and you will live a healthier and psychologically stable life. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much there, Dr. Shiamaka Rose. Wow, she's been with us for the past 2 hours. Indeed, Dr. Shiamaka is a licensed and practicing clinical psychologist with broad expertise in mental health, trauma focused care, and prevention, and the prevention, treatment, and recovery of substance use disorder. She currently serves with the Federal Medical Center, Umuahia, Abia State, where she provides compassionate, evidence-based psychological care. Thank you once again, Dr. Shiamaka, for your time with us. We'd like to appreciate everyone, especially those who could not acknowledge who are on our Facebook page and on our YouTube channel. Right on the space there, we're also sorry for those who could not acknowledge them, but then we have some more people that join in. Femi Ladiran, thank you. Ambassador Miriam Hassan, who is the executive director of Lespada, based in Kano, but operates across Nigeria. Thank you very much, Ambassador Mariam Hassan. We also have Bolarinwa Usman Olatubosun. Thank you. Mike Ian. Thank you. And everyone that have joined us from all across the world and across Nigeria, we appreciate all of you. Thank you for your time. I must not close without acknowledging some of my colleagues working behind the scene with me here. Rita Francis Dele Mahmood, Victor in Lagos, Kubi, and the rest of you guys. I appreciate Itohan. Thank you very much, everyone, for being a part of our conversation today. Yeah, well, as we always say every Friday, thank God it's Friday, but then please let's not lose guard. If you have to go out to unwind, please let's do everything we have to do in moderation and let's abstain from illicit substances or the so-called therapeutic drugs or recreational drugs or whatever name you may call it, psychedelic drugs or whatever name you call it. Please let's try and avoid things that will alter our mind and will make us lose our senses or sense of judgment. Let's try and be safe until we come your way next time. That's definitely next Friday by God's grace, hopefully, with another topic and another guest speaker. Bye from here, and I live in the house of Mahmoud. Have a good weekend.